Good afternoon. We're in the Ed Bosch Freilich Meeting Room in Mandan City Hall. This will be the Bismarck-Mandan Planning Organization Board meeting. We'll first state the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll call roll. If we can call a meeting to order by calling roll, please.
Mayor Berglund.
Here.
Commissioner Zachmeyer.
Yes.
Mayor Freilich.
I'm still here.
Commissioner Schwab. And Chair Schmitz.
Here. First item 3 is the minutes, review and possible approval of the minutes from last month. Are there?
A motion to approve.
Second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund.
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer.
Yes.
Mayor Freilich.
Yes.
Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Next item 4 is the 2025 to 2028 Transportation Improvement Program Amendment. Stephen.
Thank you, Mayor. Oh, forgot. I'm going to do it on my screen. Right. Did that not go onto the screen? Oh, there it is. Okay. Perfect. So this month, the MPO processed one amendment, which is Exhibit A in your packet. This affects the 24 through 27 and the 25 through 28 tip, since we are under both until the end of the year. The amendment was advertised for the required 15-day public comment period, and we also held a public hearing yesterday at TAC. We did not receive any comments on this amendment. It is simply to add a new project to the TIP in fiscal year 2025 for pavement markings on various U.S. and North Dakota highways throughout DOT's Bismarck district, which includes locations inside the MPO area. The cost for the entire project is estimated at $1.4 million. And the details, other details of the project are on the amendment form. So TAC recommended approval of the amendment as presented yesterday. Are there any questions?
Policy Board members, any questions? What will be the wishes of the board?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund.
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer.
Yes.
Mayor Freilich.
Yes.
And Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Next item is the fiscal 2027 Transportation Alternative Projects. And Kim.
Thank you, Chair Schmitz. So the first funding program that we're going to talk about today is the fiscal year 27 Transportation Alternatives applications. Stephen said that he was going to be really generous today, and I certainly appreciate his gracious offer to share his screen as we move through some of the exhibit items related to these funding programs. I'll direct your attention to Exhibit B on page 11 of the packet. The MPO solicitations for this program began in July, and they concluded with the final deadline of October 15th. 5 applications were received as shown on the summary sheet in your packet. And again, this is Exhibit B on page 11. Projects undergo a 2-tiered scoring process. They are evaluated and ranked by the MPO's Bike Ped Subcommittee, and then also scored against MTP objectives by MPO staff. The subcommittee ranks, shown in columns 1 through 9 on the summary sheet, are converted into a score and combined with the MPO staff score to achieve the combined score and final ranking. Is he having problems getting? Okay, well, that's fine. We'll do this. Can we make it bigger up here? Not yet. The box right here, maybe? Yeah.
This is his screen.
That is his screen.
Yes,
Okay.
This is as large as it gets.
Okay, no, that's
Stephen-
perfect.
Stephen would have to,
Increase the resolution. It's pretty good. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Okay, so again, the subcommittee ranks are shown in columns 1 through 9, and then they're converted into a score and combined with the MPO staff score to achieve the combined score and final ranking, which is shown in the green column on the far right, where it says overall rank. The two-tiered process this year resulted in a tied ranking for a number 1 priority between the Highway 1806 pedestrian trail, which is a preservation project, and the 3rd Street Southeast sidewalk installation, which is a construction project. Although these are 2 different types of projects, the Technical Advisory Committee felt very strongly that it is important to submit TA applications to North Dakota DOT for their consideration with a very clear prioritization. The projects in the packet are included in a random order, beginning with the Sunrise Trail connection on page 15, and I will direct your attention there. There, perfect. Thank you, Stephen. The submitting agency for this Sunrise Trail connection application was Bismarck Parks and Recreation District. It is a construction project, and the total cost is $591,800, and they are requesting a federal amount of $473,440. Page 20 in your packet provides an overview of the project location and extents. The Sunrise Trail connection will be a 10-foot wide shared-use concrete trail extension from Sunrise Park to the future extension of Century Avenue. This is approximately 858 linear feet and will add 0.16 miles to the existing trail network. The second project in the packet was submitted by the City of Bismarck. We find that on page 31. This is a preservation project. It is a US 83 State Street multi-use trail rehabilitation. On page 33, we find a map that provides the location and extents of the project. This is a 10-foot wide shared use path, and it is in need of rehabilitation, which will consist of an asphalt overlay on approximately 5,700 linear feet along the west side of State Street, from Capitol grounds at Divide Avenue on the south, northerly up to Calgary Avenue, where it terminates. However, Calgary Avenue has a brand new trail extension that was installed and completed this year, and that now goes from Calgary Avenue and extends to 43rd Avenue Northeast, connecting into the greater trail system in that portion of the Bismarck area. This total cost, total for this project is $437,000. City of Bismarck is requesting $349,600. The third project in the packet is on page 40. This was submitted in collaboration with the City of Mandan and the Mandan Park District. It is the Highway 1806 pedestrian trail improvements, and on page 44, we can see a map that provides the location and the extents of the project. This is an existing 10-foot wide asphalt pedestrian trail from 14th Street Northwest past 27th Street North. It does pass under the I-94 bridge on Highway 1806. Overlay and drainage improvements would be made throughout, and pedestrian safety enhancements consisting of a separation barrier underneath the I-94 bridge would be installed. The total cost of this project is a little over $925,000. However, right-of-way costs and engineering costs are not eligible, and they need to be backed out. So the total eligible cost of this project is $771,175, and City of Mandan Park District is asking for federal funds in the amount of $624,000, or $112. Excuse me. This is a preservation project. The fourth project submitted was by the City of Mandan, and we find that on page 53 of the packet. This is the 3rd Street Southeast sidewalk installation. This would be a 6-foot wide new concrete pedestrian sidewalk on the north side of 3rd Street Southeast from 6th Avenue Southeast on the east to 3rd Avenue Southeast on the west. This is a length of approximately 830 linear feet. There is no existing sidewalk there right now, only a footpath trail, indicating that there is a need. Page 57 shows the extent of this particular project. It is a 3-block project. The total cost is estimated to be $254,689, and the City of Mandan is requesting $206,120 for this construction project. The 5th and final project that's in the packet is on page 61. It was also submitted by the City of Mandan. It's the Memorial Highway pedestrian ramp realignment. And page 65 will provide us with the existing location and extents and also what is being proposed. They propose to replace the existing pedestrian ramp with a realigned ramp connection at Liberty Memorial Bridge and Memorial Highway, which will connect to a future trail being constructed as part of the Memorial Highway reconstruction project. This is a construction project that is estimated to cost $49,534, and the City of Mandan is requesting an amount of $40,088 to fund this. The projects generated a great deal of discussion amongst the TAC members yesterday, primarily because they did feel overall that it's very important to provide that prioritized ranking that clearly depicts our wishes to North Dakota DOT. The ultimate priority is shown on the handout that I did provide to you, and it clearly depicts the order of priority in this manner. The Highway 1806 pedestrian trail improvements were given a number 1 priority. Sunrise Trail Connection was given the number 2 priority project. 3rd Street Southeast sidewalk installation, it was determined that was a number 3 priority. Number 4 being the Memorial Highway pedestrian ramp, followed then finally by the State Street multi-use trail rehabilitation. Policy Board has the option to accept the original priority resulting from the subcommittee and MPO scoring that was on the original summary sheet, or you can accept the recommended priority assigned by TAC yesterday, as they are your technical advisory committee, or you may assign a prioritization of your own for North Dakota DOT's consideration. Do you have any questions on the projects as they've been presented or on the discussion that occurred at TAC yesterday? I'd be happy to answer any of those.
I have a question, and because the scoring that before it got to TAC would have indicated to me that what ultimately got ranked as number 2 maybe should have been last. So what drove TAC to push that one to the number 2 alternative? Not that they're going to fund beyond number 1 anyway, because I don't know that there's funding for anything even full of number 1, but
Okay.
that's I guess, I'd like to understand why that was ranked that way.
Certainly, Chair, and thank you for your observations. I will let you know, since you alluded to the funding portion of it, although this is outside of the current federal highway bill, our current bill goes through fiscal year 26, it is anticipated that the funding for this particular program will remain pretty much the same. And so they're working through the program with the thought that there will be about $823,000 available to fund TA projects. And the projects that are competing for that $823,000, I would just like to inform the TAC that they are submitted through the 3 MPOs in the state under 200,000 in population. So it's jurisdictions within Bismarck-Mandan MPO, Grand Forks MPO, and now also our new MPO up in Minot, Central Dakota MPO. Additionally, as I said, there was a lot of discussion regarding these projects yesterday, and the TAC members talked about jurisdictional preferences, how governing bodies for each jurisdiction might perceive the importance to them regarding each of these projects. They talked about alternate funding sources that might be pursued to fund some of these projects. And they also talked about the intent of the TA funding, whereas this is transportation alternatives funding. Some of the members, or it was expressed by one member, that perhaps recreational trails don't really rise to the level of alternative transportation and maybe belong more into the realm of recreational trail program funding. As a personal observation that was brought forth. However, at the end of all of the discussion, the handout in front of you with the ranking that I've just provided is the way that it kind of washed out amongst the TAC members. Again, you can choose to accept that, and then we will forward these applications on to NDDOT for their consideration or selection, or you can make a ranking of your own choice.
I have a
Go ahead, Mayor.
on the 1806 pedestrian trail, could you describe what a separation barrier underneath the bridge is?
In my mind, it could be something very simple as far, it could be bollards that are put in there. It could be something like Jersey barriers, things that the big concrete barriers you see on the bridges. But they need something in there because right now the pedestrian trail, it actually abuts the roadway section, and there is no separation. There's not even a curb there. So it's a safety issue, and they need to try and create some kind of a barrier there to prevent, any vehicle departure entering onto that pedestrian trail.
Thank you.
Members, what are your thoughts?
Also, north on 1806 at, I think it's the bridge, the pedestrian bridge, and there's a coulee that comes down, and the water, when it rains, overruns the top of the path. Is that slated to be corrected also on this?
Yes, absolutely, and that would be part of the drainage corrections. The let's see, sorry about that. Overlay and drainage improvements throughout, and that was one of the items that Cole Higland of Mandan Parks and Rec had previously brought forward, was that there is overland flooding right in that area, and it's actually frequent.
I would entertain a motion for something.
You want a motion to accept the ranking?
Well, either accept the TAC ranking or
Create one of your own.
create one of our own.
If you're comfortable with the ranking that was recommended by TAC, you can just make a motion to approve the applications for forwarding to North Dakota DOT for their consideration with the prioritization recommended by TAC.
Which would be that we put the Highway 1806 pedestrian trail as the top priority. Meaning that's our priority. Whether or not they accept that is still to be determined.
Right.
So correct me if I'm wrong, the Exhibit B is the MPO's ranking. TAC ranking is the handout.
Yes, correct.
So under both situations, City of Mandan, that 1806 is number one priority.
That is correct.
And the rest of them, can you explain to me the difference in those priorities? Because every one of them then is ranked separate or differently.
I'm sorry, I'm maybe not understanding your question. Are you asking how they rise to a priority through the ranking?
No, it just seems there's a disconnect between MPO and TAC on everything except for the 1806.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Mayor Berglund and members of the policy board. Again, the members of the MPO Bike Ped Subcommittee, they engage in a ranking exercise of their own. They review the projects. They do a pairwise ranking where they compare each project against each other project, and then they come out with a rank. That rank is converted to a score. So now we have a subcommittee score. MPO staff examines the projects against the actual objectives of the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, and then a score is provided through that exercise by the MPO staff. That is combined with the with the Bike Ped Subcommittee's score to actually provide that combined score. It's not a perfect system, but it seems to work. However, this year we ended up with a tie where we've got two number one ranked projects, one being preservation and one being construction. The TAC is using a different approach, using their own technical expertise, taking into consideration the wishes of their governing boards and how they feel perhaps these projects would be a priority or not within their particular communities. And again, they talked about the options for additional funding sources that could be pursued to fund some of these projects, if not through the TA program. And after all of that, that's basically where it landed. It started with Gabe Schell, city engineer of Bismarck, stating that the Sunrise Trail connection is indeed a very important project to Bismarck, although that wasn't ascertained through the subcommittee and MPO scoring. It is the second year that they have applied for funding for that particular project. It will provide an important connection from the Sunrise Elementary School area over to what will be the extension of East Century Avenue. Although East Century Avenue does not exist there today, it's going to be constructed in 2025. And so by the time this funding rolls around and construction takes place for these projects in 27, that East Century extension will exist. And he felt that it was very important to provide that connection. So much so that he prioritized that above the city of Bismarck's multi-use trail rehabilitation.
And so that subcommittee, that's the one that you run through the citizen?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That was where I was going with it. I'm sorry I didn't relay that well. so-
Okay. I hope I answered all your questions.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I agree with having the 1806 trail as number one. There's several other factors that also would be involved in this. Morton County was involved in building the 1806 trail, especially once it was getting north of where the current Mandan High School is. That was all under county jurisdiction. Water is breaking off and going across the trail in the green portion between 27th Street Northwest and Beretta Street. There's that green portion. Every spring, water goes across. Every heavy rain, water is going across. The county received many complaints, so did Morton County Water Board, and that's also my portfolio on Morton County side. Not to mention the amount of water going through there has also caused problems with the refinery because the water is breaking off and going across their property, and they have complained to Morton County Water Board and Morton County Commission about the water. Hopefully the rehabilitation there will cause the water to follow the other drainage and cross off and try to head towards the Missouri River in the area of the new construction in Mandan between Beretta Street and 39th Street Northwest. Now, that new construction has several different high water projects that went into effect to control flows. But if this can control the flows also in the long run going across refinery property, that's going to be a benefit to Morton County. The final complaint that ever came in to Morton County before this portion of the trail reverted to Mandan jurisdiction was the amount of pedestrian traffic that would come when the new high school was built. And there was always concerns from the school about school children using the 1806 trail to access Mandan High School and Mandan Middle School. And I know Mandan has a project plan for 27th Street, which would include sidewalks, which would tie into this trail. And then the final concern that I heard at different school meetings with the new Mandan High School being built where it was at was the pedestrian traffic coming from Mandan High School to go to the All Seasons arena and football field in that location. This area is going to have a lot of pedestrian traffic plus a lot of vehicle traffic. So from Morton County's standpoint, Morton County would support this being the number one on this list. Unless there's any other comments, Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the ranking as presented.
Okay, is there any discussion? I have no concern. I know from Bismarck's perspective that Sunrise Trail is important. I was only concerned because of the subcommittee rankings, not putting that as high as number 2, but I also realize that hopefully the funding will go to the 1806 project out of the MPO here, and that's probably the intention. So if there's no other discussion, I'll call roll.
Chair Schmitz.
Yes.
Just to be clear, because MPO staff must send a letter to North Dakota DOT expressing our desire of prioritization beyond 1, just to make clear, Commissioner Zachmeyer, your motion did follow the rest of the prioritization on the list?
As presented.
As presented. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? If not, we'll call roll, please.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer,
Yes.
Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Next, item 6. No. Yes, item 6, correct? I am not on a track, off schedule, am I?
I don't have my agenda up here with me. Are we on 6?
Yes, number 6.
Okay, thank you. Fiscal 2029 Highway Safety Improvement Program. That's again you, Kim.
Thank you, Chair Schmitz. Okay, we will jump to funding year 2029 now for the Highway Safety Improvement Program. A total of 1 project application was submitted for this program. The submitting jurisdiction is the City of Bismarck. Exhibit I on page 69 details this particular project. The project was scored against the goals and objectives of the MTP by MPO staff. Points in consistency with the MTP objectives are provided to TAC and Policy Board for informational purposes only. You can see that the project is a construction project to construct a single-lane roundabout at Yagan Road and Lincoln Road intersection. It will include 2 westbound approach lanes to replace the current all-way stop control and to improve intersection traffic control and geometry at Yagan Road and Lincoln Road. The total estimated cost is $3 million. This particular funding program is typically a 90-10 split ratio, so the local only has to provide 10% match. So they are requesting the $2.7 million in federal monies from this program. Staff did score it at 11.3 against the goals and objectives of the MTP, and it is consistent with goals or objectives, 1A, 2B, and 4A. TAC voted unanimously to recommend approval of the project to be forwarded to North Dakota DOT for their consideration, and that would be the motion that staff is seeking today. Do you have any questions regarding the project itself or the program that I might answer?
Members, any questions? Would be the wishes.
I would make a motion to accept.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer,
Yes.
Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Next, item 7 is fiscal 2028 Urban Grants Program. Kim, you just don't get to leave the podium.
Not for a bit yet, I'm afraid. Thank you, Chair Schmitz. I'll turn your attention to Exhibit L in the packet. This is on page 81, and it is a summary sheet for the fiscal year 28 Urban Grants Program. A total of 2 project applications were submitted for this program, and the projects were scored by MPO staff against the goals and objectives of the MTP. The points do not indicate recommended prioritization by staff, but they're provided to the TAC and to you for your information, your discussion, and potential prioritization of projects. I will add a footnote at this time that it has often occurred in the past that these project applications are forwarded to DOT without any prioritization. So, in your packet, we will begin with an overview of the Main Avenue reconstruction project submitted by the City of Bismarck. This is Exhibit N, beginning on page 85. This is a reconstruction project. The total cost is estimated to be $3.4 million, and they are only requesting a federal cost of $2 million, which means that the local entity is overmatching the local match on this project. Page 94 provides a very good drawing of the roadway section and the project extent, so I'll direct your attention there. Again, this is the Main Avenue reconstruction from 7th Street on the west to 9th Street on the east. Reconstruction of Main Avenue roadway from a 4-lane section with parking on the north side to a 3-lane section with on-street parking. There would be new concrete pavement, curb and gutter, street and pedestrian lighting, pavement markings, and ADA-compliant pedestrian facilities. Storm sewer running east-west on Main Avenue will be replaced and upsized to meet current stormwater requirements. Safety improvements include wider sidewalks, boulevards for snow storage and multimodal access, and considerations for curb extensions and high-visibility crosswalks at intersections. Landscaping will be placed in the new boulevards. MTP objectives that were supported by this project were found to be 1A, 2A, 2B, 2C, 3C, 5C, and 7B. Moving on to the next project that was submitted, this is the downtown First Street and Avenues reconstruct, and it is found in Exhibit O on page 99. This was submitted by the City of Mandan, and it is a reconstruction project. Page 107 does have a nice little map. It shows the project extents, and the project extents are the ones that are in pink. We are looking at Phase 2. This is a full reconstruct on First Street roadway with concrete due to exceedingly poor pavement condition and the need to replace water main, which precludes a mill and overlay. The extents not only include First Street, it also includes the avenues of 4th Avenue Northwest and 3rd Avenue Northwest. There's also a need to provide sidewalk and sidewalk ramp improvements to replace poor curb, gutter, and sidewalk conditions, to bring everything up to ADA compliance, to provide curb bulb outs at First Street intersections, signage and striping, and also beautification elements such as benches, bike racks, LED, and pedestrian lighting. There is the potential to examine reverse angle parking as a trial on a portion of First Street, and also signalization warrants and potential roundabout placement at First Street intersections will be examined during the preliminary design. However, no costs have been submitted associated with that, and that is only an option that's being looked at. This Phase 2 project is a standalone project. Phase 1 has already been awarded funding through the Urban Grants Program, but Phase 2 is not dependent either on Phase 1 or Phase 3 receiving funding. The total cost of this project is $4.7 million. And the City of Mandan is asking for $3 million to be provided through this federal program. That does indicate that the City of Mandan is also overmatching their local portion. MTP objectives that are supported by this particular application and project are 1A, 2A, 2B, 2C, 3C, 5C, and 7B. Yesterday there was discussion amongst the TAC. They decided to recommend approval of these projects and submit them to North Dakota DOT with no prioritization. Any questions or comments?
Questions, anyone? What would be the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer,
Yes.
Mayor Fraley,
Yes.
Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Next item, 8, Government Partners Program Memorandum of Agreement. Go ahead, Kim.
Thank you. Yes, this is a memorandum of agreement, and it is Exhibit P in your packet on page 119. Now, we've been discussing the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority's Government Partner Program for the past several months. Through the month of October, approval was granted by each of the MPO's jurisdiction's highest governing bodies, whether those were commissions or councils. And the authorization was given to participate in the BSPRA's Government Partner Program. This Memorandum of Agreement, or MOA, is intended to provide guidance as to the roles and responsibilities of the MPO and its jurisdictions respective to participating in the Government Partner Program. Should the Policy Board approve the content and intent of the MOA today, it will be provided to each governing body of each of the participating jurisdictions to sign, indicating their agreement, and we will be on our way to obtaining an annual membership and proceeding with all that membership has to offer. So taking a look at the MOA, Article 1, need to rearrange my papers. States that this memorandum of agreement is entered into by and between the Bismarck-Mandan Metropolitan Planning Organization and Burleigh County, Morton County, the City of Bismarck, City of Lincoln, and City of Mandan, who are referred to hereinafter as the parties, for the purpose of establishing a mutual framework governing the respective responsibilities of the BMMPO and the parties for the provision of the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority, BSPRA, Government Partner Program, GPP, annual membership through the BMMPO. You can tell we love our acronyms. The remainder of Article 1 cites U.S. Code of Federal Regulations, charging the MPO with providing a continuing, cooperative, and comprehensive planning process, and authorizing the MPO to enter into agreements such as this MOA to accomplish this task. So we will go to the next page and take a look at Article 2, which details the scope. The GPP is designed to assist communities along or adjacent to new passenger rail service routes. This article provides examples of how this may occur through the GPP membership, along with the term of the membership, which is 12 months. It does provide some information about additional goods and services, and any ancillary goods or services would require a supplemental agreement or contract beyond this memorandum of agreement. There's nothing in the MOA which requires participating entities to use the Bismarck-Mandan MPO to acquire or to provide these goods or services. We'll move on to Article 3. Interagency communications. To provide for consistent and effective communication between the BMMPO and the parties, each agency shall appoint a principal representative to serve as its central point of contact on matters relating to this MOA. This designation shall be communicated by the parties to the BMMPO. Article 4 It addresses the supplemental agreements that we've already alluded to. In response to requests from the parties for BMMPO assistance with activities concerning the GPP membership, but outside of the scope of this MOA, these are ancillary goods or services, the BMMPO and the parties shall conclude mutually agreed upon written supplemental agreements or SAs. Article 5, responsibilities of the participating agencies. Responsibilities of the BMMPO. The BMMPO shall secure a one-year GPP membership on behalf of the parties as outlined in Article 6, funding and responsibility for costs. BMMPO shall act as a liaison between the BSPRA GPP and the parties and facilitate a coordinated and comprehensive planning process in accordance with this MOA. BMMPO shall inform the principal representatives of the parties of all BSPRA GPP activities, forums, guidance materials, webinars, or other resources offered by BSPRA GPP to its members in a timely and coordinated manner as such information is disseminated by BSPRA GPP. BMMPO shall convey and coordinate training or funding opportunities to the parties as provided by or through the BSPRA GPP. BMMPO shall provide detailed periodic progress, financial, and other reports to the parties as made available by BSPRA GPP to foster a coordinated approach to planning for the restoration of passenger rail service as provided for under this MOA. BMMPO shall advise the parties of all potential necessary action required by governing bodies, elected officials, or government departments, and deadlines associated with such action in accordance with the purpose, terms, and conditions of this MOA. The responsibility of the parties. The parties shall pay all costs associated with the BMMPO's provision of goods or services under this MOA as outlined in Article 6, funding and responsibility for costs. The parties will convey to BMMPO the name, address, and all pertinent contact information for each of its principal representatives. The principal representatives of the parties shall convey all BSPRA GPP activities, forums, guidance materials, webinars, or other resources offered by BSPRA GPP in a timely manner to the appropriate person or persons within its agency to ensure sufficient opportunity for participation by a representative of the agency. The principal representative or representatives of the parties shall ensure all appropriate personnel, elected and or governing body officials are adequately and appropriately apprised of activities, resources, or other actions of the BSPRA GPP which may or may not directly impact the parties and may include public presentations or presentation of items to elected or governing officials. The parties agree to participate to the extent practicable in BSPRA GPP activities, forums, guidance materials, webinars, or other resources, and to seek to assist in the coordinated, comprehensive approach to planning for the restoration of passenger rail service to the MPA, or Metropolitan Planning Area. The principal representatives of the parties shall develop announcements, correspondence, interdepartmental and public notices, or ensure their development specific to the principal representative's agency requirements. Article 6 is funding and responsibility for costs. The parties shall pay costs respective to the fee associated with the annual membership in the BSPRA GPP by reimbursing BMMPO for the 20% local amount of its payment to BSPRA GPP. The full one-year membership payment of $6,000 will be submitted by BMMPO upon acceptance of this MOA by the parties and BMMPO. Upon BMMPO payment, BMMPO will invoice the parties for their participant share, which has been assigned according to the standard population-based formula used by and between BMMPO and the parties. The assigned amounts previously approved by the parties' governing bodies are as followed: Bismarck, $720, Mandan, $240, Burleigh County, $180, Morton County, $30, and City of Lincoln, $30. The parties shall remit to MPO their participant amount as shown above and invoiced within 30 days of the invoice date. MPO will provide from its consolidated planning grant the funding for 80% of the annual membership fee, or $4,800. MPO has made provisions to guarantee availability of sufficient funds to meet this expenditure within its current budget. Article 7 is public information. In general, the parties are responsible for all public information relating to their respective agency and participation in the BSPRA GPP. The parties and the MPO shall make its best efforts to give the other party advance notice before making any public statement regarding work contemplated, undertaken, or completed pursuant to this MOA. Article 8 contains a few miscellaneous items. And basically what it boils down to is that this MOA doesn't affect any previous agreement or contract that the MPO may have had with parties, and anything resulting from this MOA which requires performance beyond the expiration of the MOA will not be affected by its expiration. Pardon me. Article 9, effective date and termination. Effective once all signatures have been obtained and the MOA is fully executed. This MOA terminates at the expiration date of the 1-year annual GPP membership. TAC had the opportunity to basically walk through this MOA, and they voted unanimously yesterday to recommend approval of the MOA as presented. Staff would be seeking the same motion today. Any questions on the MPO? Or, I'm sorry, on the MOA?
Questions? What are the wishes of the board?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I personally do not like the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. I have no faith and confidence in them. They have their own political agenda, and they need us to help with their political agenda. This was discussed at Morton County Commission. Morton County Commission felt that for 1 year's worth of membership, it is worth the risk of joining. And so I will be voting for this because I have to bring forward the wishes of my main board. But personally, I have no faith and confidence in this organization whatsoever. They have their own political agenda. It's about all the trains coming through here and the economic impact. It all is going to depend on timing. And since they're the ones leading it, I'm sure they're going to make sure the trains come through them to benefit their interests more than ours. So personally, I'm against it, but I have to vote for it because that is the wishes of the Morton County Commission.
You alluded to political agenda. What would be their... What are you assuming the political agenda is?
Because the very first time they met with Morton County, and they said we were the first jurisdiction in North Dakota they met with, they said their main purpose on all of this was to restore rail to Billings and Bozeman and to increase tourism to western Montana. They never said anything about what it would do for the state of North Dakota or for any of the local entities. There's also concern, not a lot of concern, but some minor concern from Amtrak, where it services mainly Pierce County, Ward County, and Williams County, that if this passes, what's the chances of Amtrak taking away services to the northern part of North Dakota in order to move it to the I-94 corridor here? Whether that'll happen or not, do not know. But Amtrak has never turned a profit. It's still a federal agency. The federal government took it away in 1979. It doesn't mean it won't take it away again. And I just think this is a bad waste of the taxpayer dollars. But I know I am in the minority feeling that way.
Any other comments? We have a first and a second, so we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer,
Yes.
Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Next item, Arrive 2050 MTP. Jason?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
We can. Thank you.
And I apologize, my camera's not working. I'm here. So real quick update. We've been going through approvals on the draft MTP document. The comment period closed October 23rd. We had a presentation to the North Dakota DOT Management Committee. Had a few comments, have incorporated a few of those into the final version. We have gone through 4 of the 5 planning and zoning commissions for their approvals thus far. We have Morton County tomorrow night, and then on to the city and county commissions for approvals before the end of the year. And that's a quick update, but again, going through the approval process on the MTP as we wrap up the
Does anyone have questions? Doesn't appear to be, so thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, 10, Safe Routes to Services, Complete Street Study. I believe Cody Christensen.
Yeah, hi. You guys here?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so I'm here to give you guys an update on the Safe Routes to Services plan. We recently had our, excuse me, final public engagement. We had an open house on October 21st at the Mandan Morton Public Library. Got some good feedback from folks there on both our priority area locations and recommendations, as well as our priority strategies. We looked at mobility hubs, some transit improvements, as well as complete streets. And we also had our 4th steering committee meeting in early October, where again had some good feedback on those and have worked those into our draft report that was provided to the MPO last week. And that will be coming out to the steering committee and the public here in the near future. That wraps up our public engagement process, the issues identification we went through early in the project, looking at walking and biking, transit, activity nodes, barriers, and also origin destination analysis. Summarizing our strategy development of both our priority areas in both Bismarck and Mandan, as well as those priority strategies of the mobility hubs, transit improvements, and the complete streets. Also in there is a funding plan and implementation plan, trying to provide a roadmap for getting these different projects and policies across the finish line. We will be presenting the final report to the Mandan City Commission on December 3rd and the Bismarck City Commission on December 17th, and we'll be back in front of the MPO TAC and Policy Board on the December 16th and 17th, respectively. So that is where we're at.
Any questions? I'm looking forward to the presentation because it has a major impact to our communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 11, 2024 pavement conditions and collections analysis. And I believe Mona.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. For this project, we have completed the data collection for the entire network. I mean, all the functionally classified roads within the MPO jurisdiction, as well as the city of Bismarck. We also coordinated with the local media outlet to cover the event. It completed successfully in October. Currently, we are working on data processing and analysis to update the payment condition database and develop the maintenance and rehabilitation work plan. Everything is going as smoothly as planned, and we are on a schedule to finish this project by the end of the year. I think that's all I have for this update.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
We're at item 12, other business. Go ahead, Kim.
For many of you actually already know this information, but for those of you who don't, Rachel Lukashevsky has been with the MPO quite a while now and has been in the executive director position for the MPO the last several years and has done such a wonderful job of leading us, and we are going to be extremely sad to see her leave us. This will be her last meeting with the MPO. And we will be having a little get-together up on the second floor of the city-county office building, and we'll be meeting in the Blackstead room. We'll have some refreshments, maybe a little cake, and a chance to wish Rachel well. And that'll be from 3 until 5 p.m., totally open house style, like just drop in if you have a few minutes. And that'll be on Thursday, the 21st. So hope to see some of you there.
Rachel, thank you for your service, and good luck as you take on this adventure across the ocean.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to work with you and your staff for these several years. And we will miss you, and we will think of you very fondly. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Is there any other business? Hearing none, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.